Hey, my peeps, locking down the truth with Marci Lock. So I have a question for you. Are you focused on defense, or are you focused on what you want? Meaning, are you focused on blame? Are you focused on solution? There's lots of ways to evaluate this. This is what was coming up for me, which I think applies to so many people and fucks you over. I'm thinking about how, like last night, my little boy, when we went on our date night, he had Aikido, and they just started Aikido like a month and a half ago. And we're really excited about it because it's really about learning what you want to create, what you want to project, instead of like ever fighting, which is defense. It's actually just creating solutions. So like my little boy was telling me how, it's like when someone's attacking you, how they calmly move around it and they get them and they put them on the ground and say, hey, I think we've had a little bit of a miscommunication. Let's talk this out. So it's about creating solutions instead of about, okay, I got to be guarded and I got to like fight. So let's look at this and evaluate this in something that shows up a lot for people. So I had someone yesterday actually ask me, they brought to my attention, they said, hey, I saw this post from this person who holds seminars, and how they said that they worked with your personal client, or they're working with your personal client, and they catapulted in their business. They're basically taking credit for what you've done, or your prodigy, or your personal client. And I was like, interesting, never saw that. And they said, doesn't that piss you off? And I notice a lot of people that go through your program start speaking the words that you speak, start speaking the message that you speak, start using Marci language, and kind of like teaching these as their own. And I was like, interesting. Now I remember a point in my life where that stuff showed up for me. And instead of ever being like, oh, I need to guard myself, I need to protect myself, because that was the old shit. That was the old Marci that was like, could see the world through these negative eyes. Instead, when I realized that, I see it through different eyes, what my perception is that truth is truth. First off, there's universal truths. And of course, I want universal truths to be shared so that people live in more awesomeness and have greater experience. And so when someone is, in a way, reflecting my message and using the words, the Marci language, I see it as like, I'm so grateful and appreciative that truth sank in for them, that they now see the possibilities. Because people get in my space and they catapult their life to awesomeness in every single area. It's just what fucking happens when you live by universal truths. And so it's like, awesome. I'm so glad that they actually see that. And of course they want to share that message. And I know this to be true. They're not me. There's no fucking way they can ever be Marci Lock. So there's no need for competition, or I need validation, or I need them to say, hey, that came from Marci Lock. And yeah, it's great and awesome when they're in integrity and alignment. They say, hey, I learned this from, my coach or mentor, this person. Yet it's not that I need that validation, or I need them to be different. Instead, I see it as a compliment that that truth sink in, and that message resonates for them, and that they're sharing that truth. And I know, because I know they're not me and I'm not them, and no one can be them and no one can be me, that they're adding their own flavor, their own other truths, their own message to this that becomes them just sharing truth. And so there is a space in this where I'm worthy of being heard and worthy of being respected, and in alignment of that if someone is doing something that is out of alignment to our agreements and our integrity. So someone takes my content, like my 5 steps to overcome sabotage, and directly gives that to their clients or puts it in their program, that could be like, hey, I would love you to be aware that you signed some contracts that content is to stay within, my program and my peeps and et cetera. And I can be clear on that and go, oh, how else do I get to become clear? How else do I get to honor myself? How else do I get to have my contracts aligned and the commitments aligned and the people that I communicate with aligned? And also evaluating if that's a space that needs to be go into. But if I'm just like, someone's out there being like, hey, I did this for this client and da-da-da. For me, I was like, like obviously there's some insecurity there, or there's some inauthenticity there, some blocks for them as to probably why they'd be speaking those things. And that most likely is what the results are in their life. There's a reason why there's a block in authenticity and what they're able to do, and wearing a mask, that means it's blocked in creating and receiving money. And I have no need or desire to break that down and prove this right or make someone wrong, because guess what? That's just me actually in my own shit trying to say that it can't look a certain way, and that's not their perfect growth experience. Instead, what I choose to focus on is what I want to create, instead of choosing to focus on how people are being wrong or hard. If something shows up as like, ooh, I get to pay attention to this, what do I get to do about it? What do I get to communicate? Who do I get to talk to? What do I get to do to create more clarity moving forward? But there's no need to see other people sharing truths or other things like this as like negative or bad or wrong, because it's really what's right about it. What's the truth is we are all uniquely designed to be us and share our message. So I just felt like I got to share that, because Truth is truth, and I want you all to share your truth and be in truth, and the truth is I'm flattered. You guys are all awesome, and of course, the more that we can share our truths, the more that we can lean into this, love this, and the thing that I really want to point out is trusting yourself to find your message, to find your truths. When people just want to copy someone else's truth, it's most likely because you don't trust yourself in finding your own truth. So, this is Marci Lockin reminding you, power of choice is yours, choose your best life, lock it down.